Hi friends, my name is Tracy.bish. Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to be joining the Global Monthly Video Hop again for this month, using our theme for September as thank you, and we're going to actually create two wonderful projects. So this is a video blog hop, so don't forget to check out all my other Stampin' Up friends that are in the comment section. All their links are there ready to go. We're all Stampin' Up demonstrators. We love to share Stampin' Up with you, and I really hope that you'll give them likes, comments, shares, and you'll subscribe as well. Okay, so let me show you the suite that I'm actually using for my card and products project today. It's in the new Stampin' Up Mini Catalogue. It's a whole suite. You can find it on page 42, 43. Actually, I think it goes to 44. And it's called All About Autumn Suite. This is a stunning, stunning suite. There is a bundle with a stamp set and die set. We have embellishments, ribbon, embossing folders, specialty paper, and designer series paper, but it's also pretty. So these embellishments are called adhesive back speckle dots. They come in 4 colours: mossy meadow, moody mauve, crumb cake, and copper clay. And this DSP is absolutely stunning. 48 sheets. It is specialty paper because it has copper foiling in it, and absolutely gorgeous. One side is more of a printed theme, so you know, you've got your pumpkins, you've got books, you've got leaves, or like photographs, and then the other side is patterns with that gorgeous specialty copper foiling. So the colours that coordinate with this whole suite are copper clay, mossy meadow, pretty peacock, moody mauve, very vanilla, and copper. And I've just grabbed out one of that DSP. That's what we're going to create the box with. I do want to show you some of these products up close. So this is the beautiful ribbon combo. This is copper and natural ribbon combo pack. 2 spools, and you're getting 4.6 meters of both. So really pretty. That copper ribbon is gorgeous. And this is the bundle. So what do we have? Autumn Leaves bundle and Autumn Leaves dies. Really, really pretty. This is actually one that I normally wouldn't get, but I love it. So we're using the inks Crumb Cake, Moody Mauve, and Pretty Peacock is our colour scheme for our card and little gift box. And I'm also using the Fluid 100 paper. So we're going to do a little bit of watercolouring and have some fun with that as well. So I think we're going to start with the card. And although my card is actually very, very simple, my sample card, we're going to trick it up a little bit and make it a little bit more sparkly and beautiful. So let me know which one you prefer, the simple version or the amped up version. So we have a crumb cake card base, pretty peacock matting, and we have our Fluid 100 paper as the matting of the Pretty Peacock. I've also got a piece of basic white thick cardstock Pretty Peacock for our die cutting, and another piece of basic white for the inside of our card. So we're going to start off with our Fluid 100. This is watercolor paper that Stampin' Up sells. It's nice and thick. It can hold up to lots of water, and I highly recommend, if you're going to do watercoloring, this is the paper to use. So we're just going to do a little bit of a watercolor wash with our 3 colors. I'm starting with just layering a bit of water down onto my Fluid 100 paper, so it's got a nice wet background. Then we're going to come in with some of that crumb cake and give that a nice little layer. And then I'm going to mist the middle piece and then come in with the Moody Mauve and add that color in. Now, because I don't want these colours to match together too much, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with the heat tool, dry that nice and dry, and then I'm going to come in with the Pretty Peacock in the middle. That way, you know, I'm not having everything run together and it just becomes a muddy mess. We want those 3 colours to be pretty defined and separate. And that's one way of doing it. Highly recommend using good quality card, and this Fluid 100 paper works so well when you're watercolouring. So here I'm just adding another layer of water and using the Pretty Peacock in the centre. So because those other 2 colours are dry, we're not sort of adding too much in to muddy them up. Okay, so we'll dry this off with the heat tool, and then we can start coming in. I don't know how well you can see on that card, but in that die set there is a couple of dies that actually just create little pinprick marks. One has a like a long row of them, and then there's another one that's sort of a little bit centered sort of thing. I'm using the long piece to create a little bit of extra interest with that. Now, like I said, my first version, my first sample is very plain, so I'm going to trick this one up a little bit. So for our second piece, I'm actually going to stamp that leaf with Pretty Peacock ink onto the Pretty Peacock cardstock. The first one I've just die cut straight from the cardstock. So we're going to bring in the cut and emboss machine, we're going to die cut that leaf. I did also stamp the inside basic white cardstock for the inside of the card as well with that Pretty Peacock ink. And then I'm going to die cut from the thick basic white cardstock the veins. Now we're going to come in, we're going to emboss those with the copper embossing folder. And then here is this die that will cut the little pinprick marks. We're just going to lay that down, putting it at different levels in each of those colours. So it just creates a little bit of interest in the background. I think it looks really nice. So it gives a great feature. Although you can't really see it on the camera, up close you can really see it. Okay, so with our vein here, I'm just going to come in with some Versamark ink, and I'm going to add a nice layer of that Versamark ink. We're going to come in with the copper embossing folder, and we're going to heat emboss in the copper. This makes it stand up in the veins. It's so pretty. And if you miss pieces, like you can see at that top of the vein, I've actually didn't emboss or didn't hit with the Versamark. I'm going to come back in and just go over that. So because this is a small piece, I do recommend using crips or tweezers or something like that to hang on to it. Otherwise you will burn your fingers. That heat tool is super hot and you really don't want to burn your hands with that. So I've just come back in, done the end of the stem, and then I'm just using that tip that I missed out on going over that. Now you can do this a couple of times if you want to layer that embossing on. It'll just become more metallic looking. Okay, so that is going to layer over the top of my stamped leaf, and I think that stamped background is just really makes it stand out a lot. Okay, so we're going to trick this up a little bit over my sample card. I've just grabbed some Versamark ink refill, added a little bit of water to an old block, and then I'm just going to splatter that Versamark ink down onto my card base, and then we're going to add some of that copper embossing folder. Now there's little tiny splatters, there's big splatters. I really like this effect. So you can also do it with water, but don't have the same effect with water. Now one tip that I will give you is those little bits of tiny specks of embossing powder will actually blow off. So if you heat it from the underside of the Fluid 100 paper, it will emboss so much better. Once it sort of starts melting down, you can go from the front. But look at that, the colours, the splatters, that looks so pretty. And it just gives it that extra little bit of metallic and interest to your card. Okay, so there we have it. Now I'm going to come in with the ribbon, I think, next. I did film this last week, so my memory is not that good. So we are layering that up onto the Pretty Peacock card base. And I'm going to use, because we have heat embossed this Fluid 100 paper, and it does have a bit of thickness anyway, I'm going to use tear and tape. You want to use a really strong adhesive for this, but tear and tape works really well. Now don't forget, I would love it if you gave me a thumbs up, you left a comment, and if hit subscribe if you haven't already, just as as a reminder. I really hope that you're enjoying today's video. Alright, so we've added those. I'm going to take this gorgeous natural ribbon. Now I've taken about 5 inches and I've cut it in half. Now to me that ribbon is way too thick. I don't like really thick ribbon. So by cutting it in half, I just think that works so much better on my card. So I'm just creating a little tail, and I'm popping that down with tear and tape. we're going to add the vein down to our leaf with just some liquid glue, and we're going to pop the leaf up onto that card base with some dimensionals. So I've probably put on more dimensionals than it needs to, but you please yourself. I like to make sure that if I'm sending it in the mail, that it's going to get there and not be, you know, damaged in any way. It's going to be well supported. And then we can add that vein over the top. Super, like, all this metallic looks so good. Alright, so we're going to add this piece to the front of the card, and we're almost finished. We've got a couple more things to do, and we'll be done. So I have added the center card in. We're going to grab out some of those speckled adhesive backed dots, and I'm using the Moody Mauve and the crumb cake to decorate those. Alright, so moving on to this little treat box. This box actually measures, let me have a quick measurement here, 1.5 inches by 4 inches by 1 inch. So you can fit, you know, quite a few different things in that. So I've die cut my little label from Moody Mauve cardstock and a little leaf from our Pretty Peacock cardstock. We're starting off with a piece of 6x6 DSP, but we're going to cut that down. I'm also going to be stamping my thankful. This stamp actually says I'm thankful, so I am doing a little bit of masking off the sentiment and stamping that with the Versamark ink, embossing it in the copper. So pretty. Okay, so starting off with our box now, we're going to actually cut the cardstock down to 6 by 5 7/8. So we're just taking a 1/8 strip off one of the sides. We're going to score on the 6-inch side at 1 and 5 inches. On the 5 7/8 inch side, we're going to score at 1 inch, 2.5 inches, 3.5 inches, and 5. Fold and burnish on all those score lines, and then this is honestly just one of those very simple boxes. You can see that one of the tabs is smaller than the other. That is going to be our tab to put the box together. So you're just going to miter cut the ends, take off the top and bottom little square, and then all the ones up the sides you're going to cut up to the 1 inch mark. The little tiny squares you're going to miter cut, and those rectangles you're going to leave all by themselves. So I'm adding tear and tape down the tab as well as the little squares on the right side, so where the foiled piece is. Then turn it over, and the rectangle that's the furthest away from the tab, that's the one that you're going to add tear and tape to. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to take the sides off, roll that over, and then secure the box together. The top piece is actually, we're not gluing it down because I want to be able to pop things in. We're going to use the copper ribbon to be able to open and close that box. So that way the box is not going to be wrecked by anyone. So here's this gorgeous copper ribbon. It is so pretty. I can see myself getting more of this because, yeah, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just tying a little knot on the top. You don't want it to be too tight. You want it to be either be able to be undone or be able to slide off and then slide back on again. Okay, so with our label, we have our label just there. We're going to just add a dimensional or a few dimensionals down. Honestly, you could probably get away with just one, but you know. And then I'm just going to add dimensionals to each corner of the label. That way our little ribbon goes straight through it. And then again, we're going to grab one of those little adhesive back speckled dots and adhere that down. So isn't this gorgeous? You could put lots of different treats inside. Obviously, putting some lollies in would be the very best. Now, if you're in need of any of the supplies that I've used in today's card, you can certainly purchase them in my online store. There is a link in the description of this video, and I would love to spoil you as my customer of mine. I have some great programs for all my customers. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Go over and check everyone else's thank you projects that they have on offer. The links are in the description of this video. If you have enjoyed my video, I would love if you could give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe even share the video. That would be fantastic as well. We'll be back with another video next month, so hopefully you can join me for that. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.